On September 16, I killed my dog in a dream, only in a dream. Hey, how's it going? So in case you've been living under a rock for the past couple weeks, this is a musician by the name of David. I know it looks like D4VD, but it's just David. And according to David, he has definitely never killed anyone. Well, that's not exactly true. In the past, David has talked about killing people, but only in his mind.
In the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry.
Okay, to be fair to David, he says, in the back of my mind, you died, but maybe she just happened to die. Maybe he didn't actually kill her.
In the back of my mind, I killed you.
Alright. Well, hopefully he at least regrets it.
And I didn't even regret it.
Okay, but you know, at the end of the day, what really is there to regret? It's all just in his mind.
Where she died in the back of my mind. I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died.
It was only in his mind. He only commits murders in his mind, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with mind murders.
It's in the back of my mind, but then you think that I'm gonna say you died, but I say I killed you. It's really more of a figurative I killed you, especially in the back of my mind. I try to stress that in the back of my mind. So I say it so loud. In the back of my mind, you died. In the back of my mind, I killed you.
Yeah, guys, he just figuratively killed her. Fantasizing about killing women is totally fine and normal. It's only bad if you actually kill them. It's not a red flag if a dude tells you that he fantasizes about killing you in his mind. It's only a red flag if he actually does it. So, women, as long as you haven't actually been killed, there is nothing to complain about.
So it's all in the mind, because that's the most secure place you can be is in your mind.
Exactly. The most secure place you can be is in your mind. Everyone knows that people's minds are like bank vaults that are 100% safe and secure. And the things that happen in people's minds never actually end up manifesting themselves in reality. On a completely unrelated note, the dismembered body of a 14-year-old girl was recently discovered in the back of David's Tesla. To anyone watching who might not understand, this is what a human brain looks like, and this is what a Tesla looks like. These two things are actually not the same, so if you think it's okay to kill someone in your mind, that does not make it okay to kill them in your Tesla. Hopefully that clears that up for you. I hope that me making sarcastic jokes here doesn't come across like I'm making light of the situation. Hopefully it's clear to anyone watching that any jokes I make in this video are meant to be at David's expense. They're not meant to be downplaying the seriousness of this horrific situation. Anyway, at the time of this recording, David has still not been listed as an official suspect by the LA police. These types of cases can take a long time to carry out, which obviously doesn't make people on the internet happy because they want to know what's going on as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, people on social media have discovered a lot of details that, in my opinion, make David look very guilty. This young girl's name was Celeste, and according to the police, David and Celeste had matching tattoos. Celeste's mom claimed that she was dating someone named David. People on David's Discord talked about him dating someone named Celeste. David and Celeste allegedly interacted with each other on this Discord. Someone allegedly posted a picture of them together on this Discord and said, "Hey, who's the girl?" And he responded with, "You are a Fed." Now, the reason David might be calling this person a Fed, short for federal agent, is because in 2023, when this picture was posted, Celeste was 13 and David was 18. David also made an unreleased song titled Celeste, where he talks about a girl named Celeste. He once posted a TikTok with the caption, "When your card declines at therapy and they bring in that one Hello Kitty girl you met in 2021. Celeste herself was a allegedly a big fan of Hello Kitty, and in this missing poster, it even mentions that at the time she went missing, she was wearing Hello Kitty slippers. And if David met Celeste in 2021, she would have been 10 or 11 years old at the time. But for some reason, he decided to leave that out of the caption of this TikTok. It would look a little bit worse if this TikTok was captioned, "When your card declines at therapy, so they bring in that one 10-year-old girl you met in 2021. In 2022, David released a song titled Decide, where he had the lyrics, "Save your tears, 7 years." And this song was released when Celeste was 11 years old, 7 years away from when she would turn 18. So people have taken this song to possibly imply that he is telling an 11-year-old to save her tears for 7 years until she becomes an adult. Multiple Reddit comments from the past have surfaced where people said they allegedly knew David was dating a minor. Some people came out with allegations that David had been paying people to keep quiet about the fact that he was dating a minor.
Popular artists got caught giving thousands of dollars to kids. Now, why did he do this? To hide his little secret of him dating a minor.
There's allegedly a clip of David and Celeste together on a live stream where Celeste jokes about David raping children.
I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
And you can see that someone in the chat says David and Celeste island trip, which shows that some people in his chat, one, knew that she was named Celeste, and two, they were obviously making a Jeffrey Epstein joke implying that they knew that she was much younger than him. People also dug up a TikTok comment of someone accusing him of messing with a 13-year-old girl, and there was someone on his Discord who was posting messages about him allegedly dating a minor, and they posted the missing poster of Celeste showing that they knew it was the same girl. Now, of course, you should take anything that is posted on the internet with a grain of salt. There's a possibility that a few of the things I mentioned turn out to be false. However, when more and more evidence starts stacking up about someone that is coming from multiple different sources, I think that makes it more and more likely that the allegations are true. To me, all of this definitely seems to confirm that David had some sort of inappropriate relationship with a minor who was between 5 and 6 years younger than him. And the fact that her dismembered body just happened to show up in the back of his Tesla obviously does not make David look very good. Now, obviously, we don't know with 100% certainty that David murdered her. Maybe she died of an unrelated cause and then David or one of his friends hid her body in the Tesla because they didn't know what to do with it, because they knew this would make David look very guilty. Maybe one of David's friends murdered her on David's behalf. Or maybe someone else murdered her and then put her body in the back of David's Tesla to frame him. I don't know, that doesn't seem very likely to me, but it's a possibility. What seems most likely to me is that David did murder Celeste. He has made it very clear over the course of many years that he loves gore and he fantasizes about committing violence, and he's a very jealous person who threatens to commit violence against women if they get on his bad side. And it makes perfect sense that he would have a motive to murder her if she was threatening to tell the public that he was dating a minor who was 5 to 6 years younger than him. It seems most likely to me that he fucking did it. But obviously, I'm a YouTuber, not a detective. Obviously, a lot of YouTubers have already made videos about this situation, and I don't want this video to just be rehashing things people have already talked about. The thing I wanted to focus on in this video is how the hell David was able to get away with all of this for so long without barely anyone calling out any of the red flags in his behavior. I feel like most of the people I've seen talking about this situation have sort of talked about it in a vacuum, where they mostly just focus on how evil David is as a person. And that's obviously super important to talk about, but I think it's also important to talk about the cultural context that we live in, which allowed David to get away with this. views. I hope this doesn't make me come across like some sort of pearl-clutching boomer, but I don't think it should be normal for someone to release a song like Romantic Homicide, where you openly fantasize about murdering women and then it gets 190 million views and pretty much universal praise. I understand the argument that like some people just make art that touches on dark themes and we shouldn't try to stifle someone's artistic expression just because the art that they make might be a little bit fucked up. Like, horror movies are incredibly popular, and obviously horror movies can be very dark and disturbing and graphic, but I think the main difference between art like horror movies and art like David's music is that David directly puts himself in the shoes of fantasizing about murdering women in a way that a director of a horror movie wouldn't. Like, imagine if the director of the horror movie Terrifier was like, you know, I really find myself relating to this evil clown when he goes around slaughtering women. Or the director of the Jeffrey Dahmer series was like, you know, when I was directing Evan Peters to go around slaughtering and eating young men, it made me start to wish that I could also slaughter and eat some young men. Or if the director of the O.J. Simpson series was like, you know, I also sometimes struggle to get my gloves to fit, and that really makes me want to just stab my wife. Like, I think we would all agree that if these directors said these sorts of things, this would be a big red flag. But for some reason, most people didn't see it as a red flag when David repeatedly released songs about murdering women, which clearly related to his own personal experiences. Like, there's a big difference between art that explores dark subject matter and art that endorses dark subject matter. And I'm not saying that David's songs were like implying that murder is good, but I do think they were trying to get you to relate to someone who lashes out in violence against women in response to his own emotional turmoil. He has multiple songs talking about how he's mad because women keep trying to run away from him. Please don't run away from me. I dream about you and I, but why do I even try? 'Cause you're running away. Please don't hide from me. Please don't hide from me. And he has many songs explicitly talking about wanting to kill his girlfriend when she doesn't do what he says. I look into your eyes, and it's a terrible disguise. I think we both know who dies here. The truth is what you hope to find, but you can't leave the past behind. You're the only one that lies here. You told me we would never be more than just friends, but I don't really care. I'm gonna put it to an end. You never really cared about me. It was just pretend. I told you keep it 10 or you'll end up dead. I'm trying to kill you slowly. Yeah, we gon' die tonight. Please don't cry about it. Yeah, we're both gonna die tonight. It is what it is. Everyone dies at some point, so don't be a little bitch and cry about it. All of these songs came out in 2021 or 2022, and remember, this is around the time where David allegedly started talking to Celeste when she was around 11 or 12 years old. And even though these lyrics are obviously incredibly fucked up and demented, he was showered with pretty much universal praise from social media and interviewers and his record label. And I do think this just goes to show how normalized violence against women is in society. Like, you can release multiple songs directly talking about how you are going to kill your girlfriend if she doesn't do what you tell her to, and basically no one bats an eye. And I get that this is like dark, edgy subject matter, but like, imagine if he had songs talking about other sorts of dark, edgy subject matter. Like if he had a song where he was like, I'm just gonna fuck my dog, I'm gonna fuck my dog tonight. I think people definitely would pay attention if you released a song with those sorts of lyrics, because it is not seen as normal in society to fuck dogs. But releasing songs where you talk about killing your girlfriend is seen as normal, because I do think that is more normalized within society. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that everyone in society thinks it's okay to kill your girlfriend. I'm just saying, when people release songs where they fantasize about killing women, I think this should be met with a similar revulsion to if someone released a song about wanting to fuck a dog. But releasing these sorts of fucked up songs led to David being showered with praise. And even though a lot of people in his community at the time seemed to be fully aware that he had a relationship with a very young girl, he saw basically no consequences for that. So when he sees no no consequences for dating this very young girl and no consequences for releasing songs with these very fucked up lyrics, I can see how this would lead to him thinking that he can basically get away with anything. Maybe some people gave him a pass on these lyrics because he would often claim that they weren't coming from him, they were coming from his dark alter ego, a Tommy. Anytime you see him with these bandages on his eyes, that's supposed to be a Tommy.
I'm really big into anime and I'm really big into manga, and I wanted to make my own manga series at one point, and I was writing a lot of poems and writing a lot of things for it. And a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Atami, which means pain in Japanese.
I think David is the perfect example of how pretty privilege doesn't only apply to women, it also applies to men. Because just imagine if David looked like this and was saying all the same shit. Yeah, I'm working on a manga based on my evil alter ego named Atami, which is the Japanese word for pain. Atami has knives for fingers and he likes to go around stabbing and dismembering women. I guess you could say I have a bit of a dark imagination. Everything he's saying here sounds directly like it's coming from your average basement-dwelling weeaboo incel. But because David has like a cool vibe and he's decently attractive and decently musically talented and he doesn't look like this, people don't treat him that way. Apparently David was also homeschooled growing up, and that also does not surprise me. Coming from someone who was also homeschooled, I can promise you that creating your own dark anime alter ego named Atami is definitely homeschooled behavior. Atami has shown up in a bunch of David's music videos, including this anime music video for his song Rehab, where Atami dismembers a very young woman who looks very similar to Celeste. And coincidentally, both this music video and the music video for Romantic Homicide came out on Celeste's birthday. And in both of these music videos, he depicts himself as Atami stabbing a young woman to death who looks very similar to Celeste. This might just be a coincidence, but if it's not a coincidence, this shows that this man had been planning to kill Celeste for multiple years. And the girl in this music video has stars on her pants, and stars are obviously associated with being celestial, and the lyrics of the song talk about bloody sandals, and Celeste was wearing Hello Kitty sandals when she went missing, so I think it's possible that she liked to wear sandals a lot. I hope I'm not coming across like I'm Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia trying to connect all these dots where there actually aren't any dots, but the more I look into David, the more it seems like he is someone who is very purposeful about all of the imagery that he puts in his videos. So I definitely don't want to go too far down this like conspiracy theory rabbit hole, but I do think it is possible that he left all these breadcrumbs because he's a psychopath who saw killing Celeste as some sort of weird fucked up performance art. Like, it's not totally unheard of for serial killers to view their murders as some sort of fucked up form of artistic expression. Jeffrey Dahmer made drawings about how he planned to turn the skeletons of his victims into a shrine for himself, which I guess you could say is kind of like a form of art. The Zodiac Killer famously turned his murders into a sort of game by sending out ciphers for people to solve. So I don't think it's totally beyond the realm of possibility that David could have delusions of grandeur and could express his very real intentions to commit murder through his music. David himself said in this interview that in the manga he wanted to write, Atami would be a serial killer who committed murders that David would then have to solve.
The story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
And like, yeah, I guess this sounds like it could be a somewhat interesting plot for a manga or an anime, but again, most creators of manga or anime aren't doing this weird self-insert thing where they say that the serial killers in their manga or anime are their own alter egos. It seems pretty clear to me that the concept David is portraying through his music is that he feels like there's a battle going on in his own head between the light part of himself, David, and the dark part of himself a Tommy. A Tommy is this jealous psychopath who kills and dismembers women when they hurt him, and David feels like he has to fight this dark part of himself to stay in the light. I don't know how we're supposed to be interpreting this other than David is telling us that there is a dark part of himself that wants to commit violence against women when he feels jealous. And he has made it incredibly clear over and over again that he is a very jealous person, and it seems like he's very desensitized to violence because he talks in his Discord multiple times about how much he loves to watch gore videos. And David has reposted multiple TikToks showing how when he feels jealous, this makes him want to hurt women. He reposted this TikTok to his account, "Me after hearing about her past with other boys. I'm jealous and utterly disgusted by her actions." And it's a clip from American Psycho where Christian Bale's character shoots a woman in the head with a nail gun. I just don't understand how this type of joke is just not seen as that big of a deal by so many people. Like, I will admit that I'm someone who enjoys dark and edgy humor from time to time, but I think that dark and edgy humor only works when it is incredibly clear that the joke is completely ridiculous and is not meant to be taken seriously whatsoever. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is my favorite comedy show of all time, but that show only works because it is absolutely clear that these are supposed to be horrible people. You are not supposed to relate to the character of Dennis when he talks about wanting to kill women. And if someone reposted a clip from It's Always Sunny where Dennis is talking about wanting to kill women and they're like, "Isn't this so relatable, guys?" I would think you are fucking weird. Dennis is not supposed to be a relatable character. If you find him a relatable character, there is something fucked up happening in your head. Christian Bale from American Psycho is not supposed to be a relatable character. And if you find yourself relating to him when he shoots this woman in the head with a nail gun, this is a serious problem. This joke where you say that you want to shoot women in the head with nail guns when they make you feel jealous is not funny, edgy humor. This is freak incel shit that subtly normalizes the idea that it's okay to lash out with violence against women when they make you feel jealous. I've definitely gotten backlash in the past when I've talked about how I don't think it's funny to post these sorts of jokes about wanting to kill women. And of course the response is that I'm being overly sensitive and it's not that serious and I need to learn how to take a joke. Well, now I hope anyone watching this can understand why I don't think this type of humor is good. It's not just because I'm some sort of woke sensitive snowflake, it's because I believe this sort of humor can help influence people like David to go out and commit violence against women. Am I saying that I believe every single dude who liked this TikTok would go out and shoot a woman in the head with a nail gun? Obviously not, but all it takes is a couple young impressionable dudes being influenced like content like this for it to be a horrible problem. I think it goes without saying that right now there is a big violence problem in America. And I think until we fix this problem, people shouldn't be liking jokes about shooting women in the head with nail guns. David shared another TikTok of this dude cutting up roast beef with the caption, "Me if I see her talk with other dudes." So the joke here is that when this dude sees his girlfriend talk to other guys, this makes him want to chop her vagina up into little pieces. Isn't that hilarious? Isn't it really funny that this video might have helped influence someone to dismember a little girl? Come on, bro, it's just dark humor. A few little girls getting dismembered is just the price we have to pay to protect comedy. Obviously, in this situation, the vast majority of blame all falls on to David. But I think if we want to actually fix this violent culture that we live in and create less people like David in the future, then we should stop acting like it's just dark humor to joke about shooting women in the head with nail guns and chopping up their vaginas. And I just find it so frustrating that all of this incredibly concerning behavior just slipped through the cracks and basically no one saw any red flags about David. David could make multiple songs about how the dark part of his mind makes him want to kill women, and everyone thought this was totally fine because he's just expressing himself through his art. David could repost multiple jokes about wanting to kill women and chop up their bodies, and everyone thought this was fine because it's just dark humor. And none of the adults around David saw any of this as concerning or stepped in to intervene because he was getting a lot of views and making a lot of money for them. Spotify actually made a documentary about David, and in that interview, David says that he wants to be an outlet for kids because he knows what they've been through.
Having experiences and knowing what the kids are going through, especially nowadays. So like being an anchor for kids that need like an outlet.
What do you mean you want to be an outlet for kids? Most of your songs are about how much you want to kill women who make you feel jealous. And women is probably not even the right word to use because it turns out that most of these songs were probably about an 11 to 14-year-old girl. How could you possibly think that this music is for kids? This music is obviously not appropriate for children. Like, it would be one thing if you just said, oh, I make a lot of R-rated material that's dark and graphic because that's what I find interesting, but obviously it's not for kids. But that's not what you said. You said that your music about murdering women is supposed to be an outlet for children.
So like being an anchor for kids that need like an outlet.
Maybe when he says that he wants to be an outlet for kids, what he actually means is that he wants to use kids as an outlet for his penis. And again, how did none of the adults involved see this as a red flag? How did Spotify not stop and think, you know, maybe we shouldn't say in our documentary that his music is meant to be an outlet for kids when so many of his songs are about butchering women? After listening through multiple interviews with David, I find him incredibly insufferable. Listening to him talk in interviews, he just comes across as this egotistical dork who thinks he's way deeper than he actually is.
When your partner is in a heated argument and stuff like that, kind of shows you who a person is based on what they say. Its actions speak louder than words, but words also speak louder than words sometimes too. So, yeah.
Words speak louder than words.
You know, like, actions speak louder than words, but sometimes words speak louder than words. No, actually, they don't. Words don't speak louder than words. Words are words. Something can't speak louder than itself, dumbass. That would be like saying dogs are bigger than dogs. It doesn't make any fucking sense, you idiot. And then there's this dude who did multiple interviews just blowing smoke up David's ass. I hope anyone watching isn't like a big fan of this dude, but I've just never really liked this Zach Sang guy. As someone who used to live in LA for a couple years, this dude gives off the most stereotypical LA energy of anyone I've seen on the internet. He's like always overly nice and complimentary to every person that he talks to, but to me it just comes across as fake. I would say that Jimmy Fallon gives off kind of a similar energy.
One, your music is fucking amazing.
Thank you.
It has the most heart and soul.
Thank you.
Your voice is impeccable.
Thank you.
And totally unique to the point where like you hear whatever comes out of your mouth is so unique to you that you just instantly know that it is you.
Thank you.
Your music has just like so much heart and soul, and when I listen to you, I just like know that it's you. I totally agree with this. David is the only artist where when you listen to him, you can tell that it's him. Whenever I'm listening to like Taylor Swift songs, I always have this thing where I'm like, is this Taylor Swift or is this Stevie Wonder? It's kind of hard to tell. But with David, I never have that problem. Maybe I'm being too hard on this Zach Sang dude, but it's just like when every interview you do, you're like, oh my god, dude, you are just such a genius. It just ends up not feeling genuine because obviously not every single artist actually is a genius.
This album is my life. Like, Withered is my life. Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
So where do they align at all?
They do indeed, because like I said, I kind of felt like it was a prophetic thing that I was speaking about heartbreak and love and all these things I had never experienced before, but then I actually experienced them, and it's like, yo, I really said this about myself 2 years ago. It's happening.
So he's saying that the things he talked about 2 years ago in his songs were prophetic and actually ended up happening. Well, his EP, Petals to Thorns, was released 2 years ago, and in that EP was the song Romantic Homicide, where he talks about his alter ego Atami killing a young girl. And I know that what he's saying is that in the past I sang about heartbreak, and then I actually ended up having my heart broken. But your songs were not just about heartbreak. Your songs were about how in response to heartbreak, the dark part of your brain, Atami, makes you want to kill women.
Are you manifesting that in a certain
I
degree?
don't know. I hope I'm not. I really hope I'm not, because it feels that way. Because like, I look back to old songs like Life's a Dream and all these songs I wrote in my closet or my sister's closet in 2022 when I'm looking at my life in the past 8 to 9 months. And I'm like, whoa. Like, bro, these songs are soundtracking my life. So I hope I'm not involuntarily doing that, but it might be.
So the songs you wrote in 2022 ended up becoming a soundtrack to your life, and in 2022 you wrote multiple songs about how you killed a girl in response to her breaking your heart. I don't know, David, that does not sound very good. If this all just turns out to be one big crazy coincidence, it is a very crazy coincidence. David then goes on to explain that one of the songs in the new album he just released is based on a real life conversation that he had with a girl who is not in his life anymore.
Because that's a real conversation that happened. And the irony of it was that person that was saying, I love you, she's not in my life anymore. So it's like people say that the string can't be cut and the connection cannot be severed, but I feel like it can sometimes. And that's why I wanted to put, Afterlife and all these songs that feel like endings and conclusions and goodbyes on the project to kind of solidify that message of this is the end of something, not the beginning.
This is the end of something. By end of something, do you mean the end of the life of the person you were talking to in that song? People on Reddit took this song and pitched up the voice of the girl talking in the song, and people felt like her voice sounded suspiciously similar to the voice of the girl from the live stream we played before.
Why do you think you met?
Well, I think personally, have you ever heard of the invisible string theory?
It's controversial of raping kids.
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Oh yeah.
Exactly that. So basically, we met because we were supposed to meet.
You need to delete this.
Okay.
And we're connected because we're supposed to be connected. It's kind of like that, I loved you before I existed and I love you even when I die.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer
Which
that.
one?
I gotta stop.
For all of the music videos for this new album, there's this repeated imagery of this red thread. And in this song, this girl who sounds suspiciously similar to Celeste explains how this red thread can connect you to people even when they're dead. And remember that anime music video from before? This girl, who is possibly meant to be Celeste, is signified by white roses and the color purple. And Atami kills her in a fit of jealousy when her white roses ensnare him with purple thorns. And I think this is referenced in the title of his EP, Petals to Thorns, basically implying that this beautiful, perfect rose, Celeste, ended up ensnaring him with her thorns. He thought that this 12-year-old girl was this perfect virgin flower, but then she decided to hurt him with her thorns when she broke his heart, which shows you to never trust 12-year-old girls because they might turn out to be evil.
The white rose, universally regarded as a symbol of purity, loyalty, and romance. But that's not the reason I took a liking to it. You see, when a human being is drained of all of its blood, it becomes pale, lifeless, just as the rose, visually appealing, only good to observe and admire. But the moment you go to pick it up, you get stabbed. But I, or should I say a separate part of me, indulges himself in the thorns, dousing himself in the blood of his own negligence without even vetting the misleading beauty.
And in the music video for the song Where Did It Go Wrong, this girl shoots David with this gun that keeps alternating back and forth between being a gun and being white roses. And then in the Withered music video, David lies in this field surrounded by white roses, which I think could be referring to how Celeste shot him with the white roses in the last music video. And then at the end, Atami walks in, which I think means that now it's time for David to get his revenge. Then in the One More Dance music video, David is shoved into the trunk of a car, which is then driven around by this girl who looks like Celeste and this other guy. And then we see Atami sitting in the back seat of this car, which could be showing how he's plotting to get his revenge on Celeste. Then in the Is This Really Love music video, we see David sitting alone in a hotel room with footage from the previous music video playing on a TV screen. In the end, Atami walks in and then David disappears, which I think could be showing that he's allowing Atami to take over. Then maybe chronologically, the next song is either Romantic Homicide or Rehab, the anime music video, because in both of those songs, Atami kills Celeste. Then I think the next thing that happens chronologically is David starts to miss Celeste because Atami, the dark part of his brain, killed her. So then he decides to kill himself so that he can see her again because the red thread connects them in death. David has an unreleased song titled Kill Myself for Love, and the last song on his new album ends with the lyrics, I'm still by your side, I crossed it with you, and when I die, you're holding the knife, I'll love you from the afterlife. And then at the shows David's been doing, he's been having people bring in a coffin, and then he's had his fans pretend like they're at a funeral for him. And then when he sang this song Afterlife at one of his shows, he ended up breaking down crying in the middle of it. And then finally, we have this new music video titled Always Love. It starts with David ensnared by thorns holding this red thread. Then these white rose creatures bring David to this field that's surrounded by waterfalls, and then he has this vision where he sees the girl surrounded by purple and white roses. He is then able to spend more time with this girl who I think represents Celeste, and then at the very end he lays down and this white rose withers away in his hand. So I know this all might sound like a batshit conspiracy theory, but again, let me walk you through the story that I think David is telling here. It starts with Celeste telling David that there's this red thread that connects them even in death, and he just needs to follow this red thread to see her again if she ever dies. Then Celeste ends up breaking David's heart, which is shown by her shooting him with this gun made of roses. Then David is tormented by Celeste and this new guy, which is shown by him being in the trunk of this car that they're driving around. Then, in anger, David allows Atami, his dark alter ego, to take over his body, which is shown by him disappearing in this music video where he's sitting on the bed. Then Atami goes and kills Celeste, which is shown in the Rehab and Romantic Homicide music videos. Then David misses Celeste and remembers what she said about the red thread connecting them, so he decides to kill himself so that he can see her again, which is why he had his fans do this funeral for him at his shows. Then in the final anime music video, the red thread brings him back to Celeste, and they're able to spend one more day together before at the end he lies down and both him and the white rose wither away, which is referenced by the title of his new album being called Withered. Again, I really hope I'm not coming across like I'm Charlie in the Pepe Sylvia meme, but David has always made it very clear that everything he does in his music videos is incredibly intentional.
I have placed this part of me throughout this project in different areas of melody, lyrics, and delivery. You'll feel it when you get there.
In the description for one of his music videos, he writes, "The character you see here today is named Atami, which means pain in Japanese. Inspired by manga and anime, he is the main antagonist of my entire project. He wears a blindfold for the sole purpose of not being held accountable for the pain he causes. He's been planted in all of my music videos, but it's not clear what his motive is. ... You will soon find out." What the fuck? If this dude has really been using music videos over the past couple years to slowly reveal to the internet his intentions to kill a 14-year-old girl, this has to be one of the craziest things I have ever seen on the internet. And David, in case you happen to be watching this is not cool. This is not some profound art piece. This is fucking pathetic. This is the type of thing an incel freak would come up with while they're sitting in their mom's basement. You just happen to be an incel freak who got lucky by getting a bunch of views on your music videos because you made songs in your closet for your Fortnite edits, and you were also lucky enough to be surrounded by a bunch of adults who were absolute morons who gave you the budget to bring your incel bullshit to life. Maybe I am reading too far into all of this, and all of this is just one big coincidence, but whether or not he actually killed Celeste, it seems pretty clear that he had an inappropriate relationship with a child who was 5 or 6 years younger than him, and even if he didn't kill her, it is absolutely insane that all of this was ever considered an outlet for children.
So like being an anchor for kids that need like an outlet.
And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Spotify and David's record label never thought to question any of this and just went along with David saying that this is all an outlet for children. Anyway, my thoughts go out to Celeste's family. Obviously, nothing can be done at this point to bring her back, but what we all can do moving forward is stop creating a culture where it is normalized to joke about committing these horrible acts of violence against women. Because all it takes is one person being convinced that this type of insane shit is okay in order for the lives of young women to be ruined forever. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. I've been releasing exclusive videos over there every month. It's just $3, and supporting me on there gives me the opportunity to take more artistic risks and to focus on bigger projects for this channel. And let me say an especially big thank you to my Godbeard level members, Scaries, Novage Ren, Jacob Curl, Kelly Wright, Woods Witch, and Blue Devil. If you want to see more content from me, consider going and checking out my other channel. I've been posting a bunch of content on there, but if not, I'll see you in a couple months with another video on this channel. All right, See you later. On September 16, I killed my dog in a dream, only in a dream. I fed him too much cheese, he shit out his brains, and then he passed away, but only in my dream. And then coincidentally, my real dog died on that very same day. But that had nothing to do with me, I only killed him in my dream. So many dreams about killing canines, but I don't do that stuff in real life. In real life I love puppies, I only kill them in my dreams. Tesla, you will find so many skeletons of canines, but that has nothing to do with me. My ops put them there to frame me. My brain is like Jekyll and Hyde. In dreams I commit puppy genocide, but my light side always succeeds. I feed them the right amounts of cheese. I know lactose is bad for them, don't want them to end up in doggy heaven. Their deaths had nothing to do with me, I only kill them in my dreams. Only in my dreams. In my dreams. Only in my dreams. I only kill them in my dreams. I only kill them in my dreams. I never shock them in my streams. I feed them the right amounts of cheese. I only kill them in my dreams. I only kill them in my dreams. I never shock them in my streams. I feed them the right amounts of cheese. On September 16, I killed my dog in a dream, only in a dream.